missed that intro. Good evening, everybody. I will not be on long tonight. I regret that. But it's good to be here. Good to see everybody in the chat room. Are you guys having internet problems? I am having severe internet problems. Internet. John, how you doing? You said you're being plagued by a upper respiratory infection. Ooh, boy. Praying for you, brother. I know quite a few people who have had that. I think it somewhat got close to me, but I ran it off, so it didn't quite take effect. Weather's changing. Things are changing. And you know what? When cold fronts come in, they actually do push viruses around, airborne viruses. They push them around. And so, wow. Hopefully, I'm praying that you guys who are sick, who are getting these upper respiratory infections, that you do, in fact, recover from that. I know you will recover in Jesus' name. It's a very serious issue. You get short of breath and you're coughing. Sometimes it can be quite debilitating. So, you know what? I'm praying for you guys and you ladies who come into contact with that. Sickness is nothing short of, it's a situation, you have to somewhat struggle through it, but I tell you what, our Lord can heal. He most certainly does heal. He's always ready to heal. So I say, receive the healing. Receive it. And before you claim any healing, forgive anybody. Forgiven. We have that right through Jesus Christ. I think that's awesome. We can actually repent. We can actually clean ourselves up before we get to the throne. Are you losing sound too? Listen, I got to tell you guys this, the multiple ISP failures were happening today. Multiple. It's just not isolated to one spot. These are multiple ISP failures. And so it's not CoT this time. It's your ISP. There have been multiple failures. The Middle East, it's narrowed down to the Middle East and Russia hacking into our systems, in the United States infrastructure. And it's wreaking havoc. Those of you who have Apple products, I would advise you, at least tomorrow, to go and adhere to the warnings that have been coming out about these products, because it seems like they are attacking. They're about to attack. Or Apple products have a door that can't be shut, and it could cause a severe security breach. In other words, there's a cyber war that's taking place that most people don't know about. It's affecting your cellular communication, targeting these systems to attempt to disrupt the infrastructure. And so make sure tomorrow you guys share links together concerning the warnings that are out about those devices, so that you yourselves don't get shut down totally. It is a cyber war taking place. We do have something like a command for cyber warfare, and believe me when I tell you, things are very active, and they're directly affecting, if they can use your device to hack into something in the infrastructure, let's just say use your iPod or your iPhone, and you work inside a facility, a nuclear facility, they can hop those signals to that, because nuclear facilities have isolated networks. And if they can ever get close to that isolated network, they will begin to wreak havoc. Iran wants revenge on the United States for messing up their nuclear reactors. Russia is not exactly in the best relationship with the United States. A lot of tension there. And these things are happening right before our very eyes. So, and China is involved now, which explains the president's visit. I won't go into any detail concerning that. But everybody is beginning to guard the infrastructure of the United States because the United States has become a primary target for cyber warfare. It is very serious. It's extremely serious. Once they tag your info, your SIM card, or whatever you have, your identification profile, it doesn't matter if you switch your device or not, they've got you. And they'll continue to use that against us. So share links tomorrow concerning these updates you need to have. And yes, Windows put out quite a few updates, very critical updates. If you're one of those ones who don't like to get updates but access the internet, you're compromised already. You're probably compromised. So take that advice, do with it as you will. Hopefully your systems remain running. Tensions are extremely high today and yesterday, and we have a situation forming. I'm not going to get nervous about it. It's happened before, you just didn't know about it. This time, however, because it's being made public, doesn't look so good. And the gas price is going down. They're going down for a reason. Part of the price of gasoline going down is a tool for propaganda. It's a tool for propaganda. Yeah, CoT does have a backup server. It's solar, battery powered, wind powered. With a gas, we have gas backups, gas generators for more than just the servers, but it'll continue to run. So it's not really the CoT servers, excuse me, but a host of things are going wrong today. I did ask you guys earlier today and yesterday to pray for Israel. They are under a great amount of pressure this evening. Great amount of pressure. And things are just becoming very tense. Strains are being put on relationships. And so Israel need some prayer. They need some petitioning, big time. Now, we all know, according to the Bible, that they're going to endure some things. They will endure some things. But we need to make sure that we do our part in petitioning daily for them. Petitioning daily. Okay, how many keep losing sound? How many keep losing sound? FE, do you have clear sound? You're losing sound, Tanya. It's bad there too? Bad for everybody? Wow, really? Okay, what we'll do, guys, give me 5 minutes. Okay, it's good for Shelby. Nothing happening with Shelby. I'm kind of curious, you know, I did a test, determined that some of your ISPs, about 7,400 different clients that were hooked up to the system, are being, it's going smooth to them, but when it hits your ISP, something is happening to it. So it's not our servers. It's going out just fine. It's distributing pretty good, but when it gets to you guys, something is happening. Again, I noticed that this morning, actually yesterday, because when I was listening to Pastor Paul, you guys remember it was breaking up and everything, and so what I did was went into just to check some ISPs out, and they were under heavy attack. They were under heavy attack. They were getting bombardments, DNS attacks, you name it. They were flooding the servers with massive requests, and so this is something, you see, this is why I've been working behind the scenes to get a different communications platform going. This is why. Because we're not going to be able to rely on the internet. While they're having these cyber attacks, internet connections are going to be intermittent, up and down and up and down. I know that as of today, as of this morning, they're installing a great many. There's some hardware packs that ISPs are installing so that everything is not software. But listen, Russians are extremely smart. China, even smarter. They know about technology. They know about technology. And this is an issue that could perpetuate itself. Hopefully not. Hopefully not. But we're going to have to deal with it. We don't even have, that's just like here, there's looks like 11,000 right now. But the server can handle so much more. But it's hitting distribution points, almost like it's being rerouted. I have no control over that. I have no control over the route process of the internet. So some of you guys in certain areas, if you are actually having this intermittent sound, your area may be one of those affected. Here's the worst part. This is why you have to check your devices. You have to check your devices, because your device could be used to help them attack certain ISPs, certain internet service providers. Tanya from West Virginia, I know for a fact that Suddenlink Communications is absolutely being bombarded. So you may have connection issues coming up shortly. I also know that our atmosphere charge is not helping it any. It's sending small pulses to the wiring. These temperature changes. You have Comcast? Yeah, well, I'm sure you've had, Comcast, they've had problems for the last, week? Charter Communications, which, by the way, Charter Communications, that's in Florida, correct? They go all the way down to Florida, and Cisco oversees quite a few of their operations, and they are getting bombarded. So make sure you update your systems so that you're not a victim of what's happening, so that your system won't be used to attack another system. Make sure you do that. And it's not, what they're doing is trying to bring down the infrastructure, folks. This is the beginning of a cyber war that has really hit a pretty high point of escalation. And all those regions where operatives are not, you're going to see communications issues, intermittent, and they're working hard to overcome this, but it's, it's taking its toll. It's taking its toll. Folks, it's good to see you guys again. Good to see you guys again. Hopefully, we can stay on. I can't be here for long tonight. Sorry about these breakdowns in communication. But can you imagine your internet being intermittent for days, months? Can you imagine that? Hopefully, we can be strong enough ourselves to maintain ourselves in a time like that. We hope. We hope. As I said before, many things are happening right now. Today in Pastor Paul's show, I wanted that last statement I made, to watch the military. Watch military movements. It's very important that you do that, so that you become aware, or be aware, of what's happening. This will settle your nerves. If not, if you don't know what's happening and something takes you by surprise, you're not going to be a happy camper. Some of you may have noticed, yet again today, explosions underneath your feet. Anybody feel any strange, your house shake or anything? Because it happens on the West Coast again. It happened in the Midwest. It happened on the East Coast. Southern parts of the United States, it happens. Something is going on beneath your feet. Just so you know. You have to know that. And they last about 1 second. They're not an earthquake. It's more like an explosion. an explosion. And so things are happening. And it's very difficult to explain without context. The best context we can have is the Bible. The Bible is the best context we can have concerning these events that are happening. But it shouldn't be a mystery to any of us. There are cities below your feet. Cities. And those cities have giant doors. These cities are airtight, watertight. In fact, some of the U.S. naval, let's call them docking stations for submarines, like the one in Texas, underneath the state of Texas, is a naval base underneath the ground where submarines come and go. How many know that? It's not a top secret facility either. That's why I'm stating it tonight. How many know that? How many know that submarines can go all the way underneath California to Texas to an underground submarine base? There are many bases like that underneath the United States. Many. And things are happening. Militaries are maneuvering. They are maneuvering. They're setting up. Russia is having nuclear bomber incursions. We have our bombers, nuclear bombers. They're at full capacity right now. Non-stop patrols have been ordered. You see, we have to counter everything Russia does. We have to counter. I know the Air Force guys are not happy, but that's their job. That is their job. You know, I'm looking at they are flying over the Gulf. Well, because there's something that's there's something that's going to take place, MT, that people didn't count on. Okay? So Russia has to absolutely be in position to defend herself. America has to be in position to defend itself. By the way, war today will not be like it used to be. Won't be like it used to be. But you see, they're talking tonight, and cyber commands are fighting cyber commands tonight. These attacks will likely increase, and this is why Microsoft, Apple, all the other, especially Silicon Valley, they're really trying to find solutions to secure the information nets around the world. New York is by the way, New York is a primary target for a cyber attack. New York's primary target. And listen to me. If we lose our internet capabilities, the last thing you need to do is panic. Yeah, you won't be able to see what John Frisky is doing today in social media, but don't panic. Try to give you an opportunity to dive deeper into the Word of God. Absolute opportunity. Don't panic about that stuff. We're going to have cyber attacks. But here's one thing we know, that when the beast is on the scene, they're still going to see things around the world. Right? That means it's going to be a controlled infrastructure. That's what's happening now. So don't panic about it. Don't do that. That wouldn't make sense. Your redemption is drawing nigh. And listen, the closer your redemption gets, right? This is cyber stuff here I'm talking about, right? And we know that eventually something is going to happen, so it's pretty bad. I would say that it's going to carry on like this for a while. It's going to carry on like that for a while. But it's not, Tanya, it's not actually hitting us. It's not hitting us, it's hitting other people. That's why some people have a steady stream. They've had no interruptions, yet other people have had interruptions. It has to do with location. And these other countries right now are actually hitting the other ISPs. I'm getting feedback because I'm nosy. I want to know about these things. And the ISPs are having to do some things tonight, so they're going to be busy. They have outages, all sorts of things, all sorts. Yep, you know what, Dr. V? We have a backup system. We'll be good to go. We have a backup system. And as I said before, we have small little devices you can plug into your devices, small mini USB devices, where we can still communicate with one another. So, but here's the thing about shortwave. This is what people don't know. If something happens where they need to block communication, shortwave is going to be the first to go. Do you not know shortwave can be interfered with? They already know this. That's why they still sell shortwave. Those radio signals can be bent. How many have ever seen, let me explain some weird stuff to you tonight. First of all, the headlights of your car can be bent in the air to shine back on your face. How many have ever been introduced to that? How many have any idea that that's possible? They have a device that can bend your lights, your headlights, back into your face. They also have a device that can bend radio signals so that your television signals have been taken over and you only get one channel. Don't panic. Folks, if you think that technology is limited to what you've seen, you're living in a fantasy world. I could really go into depth of the technologies that do exist. I could point to you example after example. I could open your eyes to see in broad daylight things that you just didn't pay attention to, which means because the transmit by shortwave, they're active all the time. But the key is not to panic. The key is to be assured that the Lord's word will happen. You know, of all things outside of communication, one of the most important things you can have are the scriptures. I have a little book of the God satellites. And so Cyber Command for us is going to be very busy tonight. Going to be very busy. Anyway, it's not looking good. So we have quite a few things going on, folks. We do. Mare Bears, you can hear just fine, huh? Any interruptions with you? If you are located in Southern California, if you're located above Texas, Iowa, Illinois, one of the origins are there. California, mid-California is really being hit pretty bad right now. And Oregon up to Washington, all the way near Columbia, is being hit pretty bad. The Middle East right now, listen to me, folks. Please listen. Please listen. One of the major attacks right now, cyber attacks, is in Israel. They don't want Israel to be able to communicate outside of the country. That's why I was asking you to pray for Israel. If they try to cut off communications with Israel, you know what the next step is. You know what the next step is. And they're really trying to cut communications in the Middle East with Israel. There are attacks in India and everywhere else. Cyber attacks. Cyber attacks are happening towards Israel. Very bad. And the next step is to cut communications so they can't cry out or call for help for anybody. That's why we need prayer for Israel. Shouldn't be a mystery as to what they're doing. You see, while they're negotiating policies of foolishness, the evil in them is plotting to attack Israel. They're plotting to attack Israel. No, we probably put that up there, Tanya. There's a letter C at the top, the media player. I can't get the media player. No, it's okay. It's all right, Tanya. There was a web update the other day, and probably our tech drug his fingers before he did that, so no big deal. No big deal at all. But we have an issue. we have an issue. And it's getting rough. It's getting really rough. Folks, I'm going to take a break for it to be a voice of peace, but it will only serve to delay the inevitable. You understand? Which means what's going to happen is going to happen. If any nation steps up and speaks a type of peace into this situation, it's only going to delay the inevitable. The Bible dictates the inevitable. That's what we go by, the Bible. But tonight's a very crucial, critical night. Tonight is a very critical night for a few things. And we're seeing the results of disgruntled nations coming against allies of the United States by way of cyber attacks that are vicious. And they're using the equipment, the PDA devices that kids have, that people have all over the place, and they're using it against the infrastructure of the United States. It's what they're doing. Now, I'm telling you now, if they cut communications with Israel, you know the next step. If they can do it, you know the next step. And they've had incursions with their nuclear sites. And if we send an attack back to Iranian nuclear sites, they already got their warning. They had an ultimatum today is what they had. They had an ultimatum. And so and Russia's involved now. And so right now we're looking at some cyber warfare that is somewhat unprecedented because it's clear lines have been drawn. And it starts with cyber attacks. That's what it starts with, but they're trying to cut communications with the Middle East. They're trying to hack them enough where they can take down their systems. And we all know what happens after that. I'll be right back right after this break. How are you guys doing? Everybody there? Everybody there? Were you guys hearing the music without skipping and all that good stuff? Anybody? 5 by 5? Good, Nancy. Was the music playing okay? Okay. Oh, so it was good. Okay, it was good. It was good. Uh-huh. No skipping. Oh, great. That's wonderful. 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 Well, let's hope it lasts. Let's hope it doesn't go out or anything. Had to tell Mikey to give me control of the server so I could change a couple scripts in there. Hopefully it holds up for a little while longer. Anyway, what I was talking about, guys, is something very important. And you know what, tonight we'll make tonight a night of preparation. Right? Tonight is a night of preparation. We are aware that things are happening, but you must know that when the Lord comes, He's coming to make peace with the elect, which is you. I love saying that. He's coming to make peace with the elect. And everybody else, did it just cut off? Are you kidding? Maybe it's me. Think somebody's directly attacking this show, this broadcast? Wouldn't that be something? In and out for Tanya, Comcast has just been smacked. On my voice only, it starts to skip. Can you imagine that? On my voice only. Can you imagine that? Maybe we can fix that, though. We can change that in a jiffy. It'll sound a little different, but we can certainly change that. I don't know what they're doing. Yeah, well, it's a transmission thing. Tanya, you are retransmitting, correct? With the skips and everything? You're on Comcast. The CoT servers are on a totally different ISP. That's what's happening. So it's different for ISPs. So, yeah, Andrew, some people won't have interruptions. Some people will. And so, yeah, it's annoying. It was like it during Pastor Paul's show. It really was. And they are, there's something else. So, interesting. When I come on, it skips now and then, Wasn't that something? Let me do something here. I'm going to make myself sound like a chipmunk. How about that? We can actually cut down frequency transmissions here. Do a bit of may sound a little different, but all right, you guys let me know when it stops skipping. Yeah, it was pretty bad, Shelby. But we are under, we're having these issues and difficulties, and what they're trying to do is actually, they're trying to distract everyone from the obvious of what's happening. And it's getting bad. It's getting bad. They're working on something else, is what they're doing. But listen, this is good practice for us, right? It's good practice because what happens when it goes all the way out? You ever think of that? What happens when it goes all the way out? And we don't have any transmissions, and we can't talk to one another just for a few days or so. How many will panic in that scenario? Because, see, most people don't believe anything like that could happen. Most people don't. But it can. It can. And when it does, you have to be in a position where you don't panic. You can't panic. You have to keep going. It'll give you time to go into your prayer closet if it's for real. You see, I get kind of lit up when I think about things like this, because if it does happen, that means we're one step closer to going home. One step closer to going home. I can say that because Jesus said, the generation that sees all these things shall not, all these things, all these prophecies will pass in one generation. What generation was that? The generation that sees all these things. And what things was he referring to? You see, we have to have wars and rumors of wars. We have to see earthquakes and floods in diverse places. We have to. We have to see the setting up of the abomination of desolation. But we're the only age right now that can actually obviously see everything. And yes, signs, I am looking at, I can't tell you what I'm looking at, but I can see a ton of activity. I mean, it's far beyond the Norse virus. There are bombardments emanating from both Russia and China. And they're pulling a wicked shimmy. But Israel is catching the grunt of a lot of things. They're trying to cut off. Listen, these are war tactics, folks. Let me explain something to you. You don't have to believe it. You don't have to do anything but listen to me. You need to chop the ears off of your enemy. You need to blind your enemy before you attack your enemy. Right? What runs our missile defense systems? They're computerized. They are computerized. And guess what? Any atmospheric disturbance that's going to mess up electronics are going to capitalize off of it. Right? That means an opportune time to begin a cyber attack is during a CME, where it's hard to differentiate between a failure from the CME or from an attack. Cyber Command is busy tonight. The other day I told you guys we're not going back to yesterday. Yesterday is gone. There won't be days like yesterday. We're going forward, moving into a brand new level. Don't wish for yesterday. Don't seek the comforts of yesterday. You're living in a brand new era. That you are. New tactics are being employed. Things are failing because we still, like not very smart children, have chips from China in our devices. Let me tell you something about a chip. A chip can be programmed and reprogrammed in circuit serial programming. They can be reprogrammed on the fly. To make crazy things happen. Crazy things. That's what they're doing now. That's why we've had these rocket failures. All these rockets are controlled by chips. These chips are made where? In China. They're made in China. The chips in our space program are made in China. Shameful thing. Shameful thing. Good practice for us, though, because it's all going forward from here. Now it's time to get some things together. I believe the Lord shows us things like this so we can consider the weightier things that are on the horizon. Things will be on the horizon. How many people have had steady sound? What you should do is look for your specific area. Well, that wouldn't help you. Never mind. Just believe me when I say that Cyber Command is really busy and that we're being bombarded by China and Russia right now, and that the Middle East is a primary target. So is California, so is Washington, Oregon, and the Columbia and Idaho vicinities. Oklahoma is a primary target, Kansas, Colorado, northern Texas. These are our digital hubs, command and control, so to speak. The East Coast, they get feeds from the middle of the country. That's why they're hitting these places. In New York, listen to me, the East Coast, its internet connections are controlled in New York. The main feeds are coming from New York. New York has the control servers that control everything else. If New York is taken out, you're going to lose your internet connections. And this is only the beginning. Silicon Valley right now is under attack, of all places. Here's what they're doing. They're going to keep us busy with our infrastructure. They've already got us on the defensive. For those of you that can see any type of digital attacks, we're on the defensive. Dallas, Texas. Dallas, Texas. One of our main command and control centers in Dallas, Texas, is being bombarded right now. Pulse attacks emanating from New York, coming from overseas, smacking us. Satellites are under attack too. Cyber Command is very busy. Anyway, so we know about these things. It's happening. But before you attack an enemy, you confuse the enemy. Or you occupy that enemy on the defensive. Then you can do things. So we know that. We're not going to talk about that. Won't talk about that. There are many, you know what, it's just not one. It's just not the Norse. Not the Norse attacks, not just DNS attacks, not denial of service attacks. These are multiple bombardments taking place today. And if you were smart, you check your devices. You need to go check some links because Apple devices, products, Mac products, Windows did the update. They have another set coming out probably tonight. You're going to have some more updates and you need to apply them quickly. to your computers. If not, your computers are going to be utilized to help attack the infrastructure of the United States, and it's going to be compromised. Now, let me tell you a little story. You guys ready for this story? Your ISP has the right to shut down your system if it's infected with a virus. How many know that? Anybody know that? Your ISP can shut down internet connection to your house if it suspects your systems are being used for a virus. And the only way to get it back up to par is for them to come physically check out your system. They have to have access to your system, your files, and everything else to clear your system to be back on the internet. How many know that? That means your personal life will be exposed once they check it out. Now listen, there are programs that can read all the contents of your computer by taking a snapshot in less than about 30 seconds. They don't need all the data. It's an algorithm that takes bytes from all the data on your computer, snapshots, and it reconfigures your computer perfectly on another computer. So they only need a fraction of the many bytes on your hard drive to take a snapshot and then reassemble it somewhere else. And the only way to get your computer back online is they have to clear you to get it back online. That means everything you have on your systems, all your contacts, everything you have on your system will have to be cleared to get back in the net. Folks, this is part of an operation. It is part of an operation. Now, look at what's happening tonight. We're under a major cyber attack. There's major cyber activity, right? If your system becomes compromised, all of a sudden you don't have internet access, and you call your ISP and say, hey, I think my internet is down. They'll say, well, we had to shut you off because we're getting bombardments from your system to our hub here. Then they'll say, we'll let you back on with your ISP after we can clear your system. That's what's going to happen. Now, how many people have critical data on their systems or do not want to share, and they'll just say, forget it. Go buy another device, and then the policy is this. Once you have been tagged to have had a compromised system, it doesn't matter what device you get. You're still going to need that ISP, whether it be wireless or not, to get your service reconnected. Doesn't matter. This is another control mechanism, one of the last control mechanisms. And then they're going to introduce a totally different type operating system that resides in cyberspace. That's going to be the funny part. You guys that know about operating systems, they have one in cyberspace, in the cloud, an operating system, which means all your data and everything else is stored where? In a cloud. Which means all your passwords and everything else is stored where? In a cloud. Which means everything you do on your device is not on your device. It's in the cloud. Your device will run extremely fast because it's only going to present the data. But your entire life will be held in the cloud. There'll be no more secrets, folks. No more secrets. No more private conversations. The new society will adapt quickly, carry on business as usual, because they don't stand against the system. But any Christian who breaks the laws by stating Jesus is Lord or something like that, it will be offensive for those who have to comb through the data. And you'll be tagged. They'll know exactly who you are. All these shows like Blog Talk and all these other places, folks, they're already on the cloud. All that content's on the cloud already. That data can easily be transferred. with the new OS operating systems, all of it's going to easily be transferred and censored. You know what their excuse is going to be? The new system has recognition and will not allow certain things to be mentioned. You see, they can keep their hands clean. You understand that? They can keep their hands clean. They'll say the computer's doing it. It's the way it's set up, and it's not going to change. They're going to keep their hands clean. You won't be able to blame a person. They're going to say the computer did it. They're going to say, well, the algorithm or the system is set up to recognize certain things that are offensive, and it just simply won't allow it. That includes voice. Listen, they have voice recognition that will not miss a beat on your conversations. In fact, it can, in fact, cover the world's conversations millisecond by millisecond. And it can decipher everything they're saying in every language. And if it finds an offensive word, it can react. Folks, that technology is perfected. And so when you're talking online and you hit a blank spot, and you get a letter in the mail because you owe something, you broke the law, so you're going to have to pay a fine, lots of people are going to give up. The only shows that will still exist are the shows talking about ETs. They don't care about that. They don't care about ETs. They don't care about the Muslims. They don't care about that. You see, the one rule concerning religions is that you can no longer say that salvation of any type or to make it to heaven can be through one entity. You can't say that. You can't say that the only way to get to heaven is through Jesus Christ because it's offensive to other religions. Do you see what's happening? Do you see what's happening? Yeah, empty. Don't worry about the sea. Don't worry about the sea. That interface is changing. In fact, you guys will likely see, you're going to see a lot of changes on the CoT site. It's on a totally different platform. Very fast. Very efficient. It's changing piece by piece. The back end is being changed. You see, because I know this. I know that the Bible is going to be snatched out of people's homes and burnt. I know that. Why? Because it contradicts the laws of the land. They will not allow anybody to have anything that contradicts the laws of the land. There are policies put into place to rid the world of the Holy Bible. Already. And the Republicans know they only have but a short time. You know what? Some of the Republicans are allies of Christianity. But don't you dare for 1 minute think that all of them are. Don't do it. Don't discern them because they stick up for certain policies, because they don't like immigration. Don't do it. You don't know who these guys are. You do not know who these guys are. Changes are coming. We're not going back to yesterday. It's not going to happen. That's just the beginning of sorrows for this world. People are being sucked into this new system that lies beneath your feet. We talked about that last night. And I know it's difficult for people to fathom these things because they have not seen them, right? It's very difficult to fathom that an entire civilization lives beneath you. But it won't be hard to fathom pretty soon. It's hard to believe that any object can be 2,700 miles in diameter. Hard to believe that phantom ships are real. Hard to believe that the fallen angels are actually back. It's hard to believe. We have to hold fast to what we have. A time of times is coming, a time that you cannot compare to the... Listen, the post-flood times were not as bad as this time is going to be. Do you guys understand that? Jesus said himself, there was not a time like it before, not until this time, nor will be after. And you know, from my reading, and looking at the book of Enoch, that the flood was pretty bad. Yeah, it's a pretty bad time. with all the archaeological finds, leftover technology, all the bones and so forth, all the vehicles that are still in the sky, all the dimensional folds that are taking place right now, and that obviously took place back in the past. That was a pretty bad time, and Jesus is telling us this. This time is going to be worse. It's going to be worse. Then there's another layer below that. A layer that scares the most hardy of men. Folks, we're going to have some complications and difficulties up here. But never fear what men can do to you. You are not your flesh. You're not defined by your flesh. You're a living soul. You're a spiritual being whose life is eternal. It's up to you where you spend it, but your life is eternal. You're going to shed your flesh. Don't fear who can damage your flesh. Don't do that. At your rental car, okay? You're going to get out that rental car and get the real model here shortly. All right? Don't worry about the rental car. You're the driver. The rental car can't do anything, and you have the keys. All right? But you're about to get another car. Another vehicle beyond imagination. So stop worrying about your rental. Yes, it has damage. Yes, it's been messed up, and we didn't do things right in the vehicle, where gas was supposed to go in the gas tank. We stuck, sugar. Don't worry about that. It's falling apart, breaking down. The tires are barely running. Rust is eating it to pieces. All right? Don't worry about that. You're going to have another vehicle. Don't run around with fear saying somebody's going to hurt my rental car. It's a rental. It's not permanent. It's not permanent. And it certainly does not define you. It doesn't define you. Don't worry about it. Keep your souls. Possess ye your souls. Keep your soul, keep your garments clean as possible. Our flesh is, listen when I'm telling you this, our flesh is ruined. You have no clue what you're mixed with. You got a lot of people running around in their rental car and they're saying, oh, this rental car is perfect. No, it's not. It's dirty, it's foul. It's made from many different parts. That rental car is messed up. It can go no further than this earth. It's not going anywhere else but the earth. It's made for the earth. It came from the earth. It's made of all the elements of the earth, and believe me, the DNA in that rental car is all messed up. How in the world are human beings running around with bug DNA in the first place? Something went wrong there. And without Jesus Christ, our souls couldn't be redeemed. Why? Because our souls are condemned, because our flesh is rotten. And if you don't have Jesus, then your spirit is in your flesh like an animal. The spirit of an animal is in its flesh. That's why they have such high instincts in this and the other. But anyway, we're all mixed up. We don't even know what nationality we are. Go get a DNA test. Have you ever seen two black individuals have a white baby? I have, and it wasn't albino. I also saw a white couple have a black child. What happened there? That was just all wrong, right? But it happened. Then the father disputes it, and it's 99.9% the father's, and you can't deny the mother. It came out of her, so there you go. Right? Because if you had a 20-gallon fish tank, one marble in that fish tank represents your nationality. How about that? One marble. You're mixed up with everything. You're mixed up with everything. So you're not your rental car. You're going to shed your rental car. Right? You're going to shed it. You got to get out of your rental car. It's going to be destroyed and go back into the earth. It's only a vehicle that you command to get you around. That's it. That's all. A lot of people don't know what Hebrews are, what they were, and then they get caught up on that stuff. Well, I'm an original Hebrew, I'm an original this, I'm an original that. I know a guy who was prejudiced, And he liked Nazism. So he goes and has a DNA test, right? And he finds out that the majority of his genes are Indian. He had a bad day, didn't he? Yet he had no traits of Native American in him. But the majority of his genes were Indian. But he didn't look like it. Messed him all up. I knew the guy too. I used to talk to him a lot. Anyway, let's not get caught up on this flesh thing, because you got to get out of that flesh. It's already corrupted. If it were possible to save your flesh, if you could do it yourself, we wouldn't need Jesus Christ, would we? Huh? He had to come. He had to be sacrificed, because you don't know how bad it really is. You don't know how. We're not like Noah. Noah was the only one untainted. He still had the good DNA, right? But the Bible clearly says there were Nephilim before the flood and also after that. And guess what? It happened again, because everybody started mating with this race and that race. And God said, kill off these roots of the Nephilim, right? Told Joshua, get rid of them. Get rid of this one and over here. And told David, get rid of them. Get rid of them. And then they began to mingle. God told them not to mingle. Not because of race. It's because they had DNA of the Nephilim. That's why. That's why he told them not to mingle with them. Then everybody throws that all out of proportion. And prejudice strikes. Right? God didn't want his people in the line of Noah again to mix with the Nephilim. That's why he told them to kill the descendants, the Anakim, and all these other guys. 3rd and 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th generation Nephilim. Because their genetics were disrupted. They were changed. They were mingled, mixed. And that evil that's in the Nephilim was inherited by their offspring. And now it's numerous again. People have been taken again. Taken up into crafts. Implanted with babies. Yeah, that really happens. Thank God for Jesus Christ, folks. But I tell you what, the world is planning something. Military movements are numerous right now. There are gag orders in place right now. They can't talk about it. I certainly won't talk about it, except to say, watch military movements. This time it could be for real, not for show. An assault has begun. And because we live in a world of technology, you have to have cyber commands to fight against the infrastructure of your enemy, to blind him and make him deaf before you strike. We have bombers airborne. That shouldn't be a mystery to anybody. Russia has 24-hour flights of their nuclear bombers. We responded because now we have 24-hour flights of our nuclear bombers still on mission. Still on mission. And Russia hung up on the president again. So we had to write him a letter. That can't be good. But don't panic. Don't panic. Because we know by reading Revelation, communication will still be in existence. You see, a lot of people will still be communicating, sending gifts to one another when the two witnesses die, right? The whole world's going to know that the two witnesses died. How do they do that? Because they still have the internet or something comparable to it. The problem is they're going to determine who can access the internet and who can't. Who's going to be part of the system and who's not. That's what's going to happen. All of this stuff that's happening right now is good training. Not to panic, but to understand that at some point the entire system is going to change. The entire system. Censorship is coming. It really is coming. Folks, I'm going to take a break. I'll be right back. And I have no music. But I have an E-Trade account. Yes, I saw that commercial and I did laugh. Hold on, folks. We're going to take a break just a second. Here we go. Okay, I'm back. You guys hear me okay, hopefully?
Let's see if it cuts out now. Hopefully it won't cut out. They've been messing up the entire broadcast here. Do they not know who they're fooling with? The guy from the woods is not, he's not right in the mind. He's not right in the mind. Guys, how do you read me? 5 by 5, is it good? Is it good? This is weird. Huh? Maybe they don't want me talking. Maybe. Well, am I good to go, Mosky? Am I too loud? I am so sorry. You have to forgive me. I'm a hyper guy sometimes. Okay. Let's get the sound down just a bit. About right there is good. It won't cap, right? You good to go? It's not cutting out, right? It's not cutting out? Good. You want to know what I did? It's going through a Vox. A Vox changes, it takes out certain frequencies of your voice, right? And that's what I used to use in the beginning, because when you do pattern recognition to a voice, if you take out certain frequencies, it does not match your voice print. And so hopefully this works a little better. Hopefully it works a little better. It's good now. Good. Good. Excellent. Excellent. Well, so much for the full spectrum of my voice. Did you lose it again? Are you serious? Changed. Well, hopefully everybody else. Do I sound like Pee Wee Herman? Hey, I remember that guy. I remember that guy. Folks, we'll try to get through this. We'll try to get through this. But there's something strange happening. Something strange. Anyway, what I was saying there, these cyber attacks that are happening began about a couple days ago, and they are continuing. Now, I was looking at about 7 different activity screens. They didn't look good. Although I think those Norse attacks have slowed down a bit. But the other attacks are still, the pulses are still going out. I'm not sure, I can't determine because I can't access the other information. But I'm not sure if we're having some type of atmospheric disruptions also combined with these attacks. So, I'm trying to determine that for you guys. Hopefully. Did it drop? Are you kidding? It's dropping? They just don't like me. How about that? Did I get your message? Probably not, Andrew. Folks, I have limited resources where I am concerning public connection, so forgive me for that. I can't check email. I can't check any of those things at the moment. Oh, and by the way, we're changing our player to an entirely different platform. Right now, it's based on Flash. It's Adobe. It's an Adobe server based on Flash, and so we're changing that so it's compatible with some other things. We're going to make it more like the other network connections that we do have. So hopefully that works a little better than this does. Hopefully. But listen, we're going to have these interruptions for a while. We're going to have these interruptions for a while. So the best thing we can do is circumvent it and put our heads together and get around it. That's going to be necessary. We have to put our heads together and get around this stuff. It's not going to go away. It has nothing to do with your bandwidth or anything else. It has everything to do with massive interferences taking place. Massive interferences. By the way, I think you guys, I'm going to say it again. That's right. Bye-bye Flow Player. We initially did the Flow Player thing to get that out there in a hurry, and we just didn't change it. We just kind of put it up there to get the Adobe server tested and make sure everything works right. But we have a whole new player platform that's been written, and it's almost done testing in multiple different types of configurations. And so that'll work better for all devices. We want it on all devices. And plus, Flow Player is made by somebody else, and the components are designed working with Adobe, and that's not being very self-sufficient. And so that's why the chat room has to change. Our Adobe server has to change. The player on the website has to change. The hosting combinations have to change. Everything is going to have to change, because if external sources begin to break down, we're not going to have communications. We're just not going to have it. So all of that is changing, and we're going to be good to go. We're going to be good to go. And Signs has volunteered to help us out. So that's awesome. He's a network guy. So him and Mikey will end up, they can have fun doing this. I don't like networking. I like writing code. I don't like networking. It's too much testing in the wrong area for me. Well, 36, this show was certainly, this show was messing up. This just happened in the last couple of days, by the way. And it's really been hitting New York for about the last 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks. So wherever, if you live near a big city or something like that, you're going to notice more and more internet interruptions. And that's just part of this new paradigm we're in right now. We're in a brand new paradigm, folks, and I'm telling you, it's not going back to the way it was. It's a brand new paradigm. Brand new paradigm. Anyway, we know that our Lord told us about these things. We know it's an interesting fact. You don't like code? I like code. I do not like networking. I don't like it, so that works perfectly. We know that the Lord warned us. You know what? This is something I can't get out of my head. He said, but pray that your flight be not in winter, neither on the Sabbath day. That's what he said. It's almost like it's a warning. I'm taking this as a warning to say, listen, those in Judea are going to have to flee to the mountains in or around that season. Pray that I wonder how many, listen to me, how many do you think in Israel right now are praying? Those in Judea, how many do you think are praying right now that their flight is not going to take place in winter? Which is, Israel's winter is also called the rainy season between the months of November through March. Do they even know about it? Are they praying for it? I don't think so. I've asked, and they're not. You know why? Because something strange is happening, something else that Jesus said. That if they didn't watch, they're going to be caught unaware. And you know what's happening right now? They're not thinking about fleeing to this direction or that direction. They're not thinking about it. And something is certainly going to take place. Something is absolutely 100% guaranteed to take place. That's a big nugget. 100% it's going to take place. Then he says when that happens, listen to me, this is why it's so important. It reads this, but pray that your flight not be in winter, neither on the Sabbath day. For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world, to this time, no, nor ever shall be. And except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. Do you understand that? For your sakes, you're going to be right in the middle of it. Can you understand that? I'm just speaking to you as real as I can tonight. Do you understand that you're going to be in the middle of a tumult, of a great noise? You're going to be in smack dab in the middle of it. Right in the middle of it. You're going to be in the middle of it. Now remember, we read the other day, it said specifically, and after the tribulation of those days, the sun will be dark and the moon not give light, and the stars are going to fall to earth, the powers of heaven will be shaken. Then they will see the sign of the Son of Man coming in the clouds. You see, this happens, listen to me, and listen to me closely. That happens when God gathers the elect from the four corners of the earth. He does that after the world experiences great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, nor ever shall be. Do you understand that? So what you have to do is not set your mind on any escape, but set your mind on enduring until the end. You know, when the Lord said, he that endures until the end, the same shall be saved, to endure something means you're not going to like it. How many know that to endure something means it's not very comfortable? How many know that? To endure something means it's not very comfortable, right? But what you have to do is throw away all these preconceived notions, putting time limits on things, setting up dates and calendars and all this other stuff, right? Because if the time is shortened, if this tribulation is shortened for the elect state, things will move along much faster than that timeline dictates, okay? Oh, here's the key. All of us have been suffering to some degree already. Now, he said this 2,000 years ago. He said that 2,000 years ago. He was speaking to his disciples. You know what's worse than actually being killed? You see, in the old days, prior to the flood, the tribulation they went through, it's great tribulation. Because it's a direct assault on your soul. A direct assault on your soul. You see, when the Nephilim were in this earth, the blood of those who were killed cried out to the Father, and the angels presented that before God and God their soul. The attacks that are mounted on your life are wearing you down. And the Bible did say he will wear out the saints of the Most High. The Bible also says Jesus said, or it was noted that there will be a great falling away first. A lot of people are going to lose their souls. Is that comprehensible to you? These are rough times because you're an eternal being. You see, you can't escape your eternity, whether you spend it with the Father or with the devil. You can't escape it. You're an eternal being. Dying is an easy way out. That's why the Lord said, he that endures until the end, the same shall be saved. Let me clue you in on something else. When the scoffers did come, what did they scoff about specifically? You know what they did? They said, where is the promise of his coming? Let me equate that to the English language for you. Oh, where is he at? I thought he was coming to get you out of this crazy stuff. He's not here now. Who's going to save you now? That's what they're saying. Who's going to save you now? Who's going to save you now? You know what? In a way, your situations do that without an individual saying that. Some of you have no doubt heard it in your heads. Who's going to save you now? God's not going to show up and get you out of this one. How many have heard that? Right? These are the scoffers that are coming. And they're going to say that. Why are they going to say that? Why are they going to say that? You know why they're going to say that? Because you're going to endure in a time that's going to be pretty rough. You're going to endure a time that's going to be rough. Well, we're going to have to do this night all over again. The attacks are extremely high. The cyber attacks are high right now. Washington, Oregon, Columbia, Idaho, they're getting smacked. California, now Nevada. Fort Hood, Texas, is fighting off assaults. Can you believe that? Fort Bragg, Fort Polk. What in the world? We're getting it. It's getting ugly. You know what, Dr. V? If I connect to you, I'm going to have the same problem. Actually, it'll be worse because it's going to go through the same stream. For my voice to get to you, it'll go through the same stream which is being chopped up. It's being chopped up. So it's going out clean, but when it goes to distribution, it's all messed up. It's all messed up. But I did tell you guys a couple nights ago, we're not going back to what it used to be yesterday. Everything changes from here on out. Everything changes. Stop saying Oregon. Oh, by the way, listen. Can you guys hear me out real quick? Whenever we have cyber attacks like this, your voices can, there are key words that you can say. They can get messed up. No, it's not the repeater signs. It's actually the ISP on the other. The repeater's captured, goes out through the ISP. Once it's distributed through the Suddenlink is being chopped up and going out to different places. Now, some places have a very clear connection. They have no interruptions. No interruptions. My voice is clean and crisp and clear, no drops, no anything. But some places it's being chopped up. So, nothing that, it's a distribution thing there. So after it's getting back to the ISP, it's going to other places, and some of those places is being halted. But there are keywords that the system looks for that will actually, packets start dropping and everything else. But I really do think it's a cyber issue right now. I do. I think it's a cyber issue because the United States is under, they're warring tonight in cyberspace. I'll put it that way. They're really warring tonight in cyberspace. And tomorrow, again, those of you who have Macs, Apple devices, you need to really go on the internet and look for the advice from them because you need to heed the warning. If you don't heed the warning, your device is going to be compromised. It potentially won't work for you. It's going to be used to do damage to other people's systems. Protect yourself, your information, everybody else. Keep yourself updated on what the manufacturers are warning you about. If you're on a Windows device, make sure your system is up to date. Microsoft is putting out updates for all Windows operating systems. If you're using Microsoft Office, don't forget to update it. Listen, the bad part about Windows is that every suite that you have, like the Office 2010 suite, Visual Studios, well, actually Office 2012, 13, or whatever, and then, of course, the Visual Studios for you guys that develop. You need to get the updates and service packs for those things, or it too will be compromised, and your data will be captured. If you have Skype, I'm going to tell you something now. If you're not using Skype, shut it down, because Skype is a, let me explain something to you about Skype. Through Skype, they can go through every file on your computer. Homeland Security can go through every file on your computer through Skype. That's why we're in a rush to make a different type Skype made by CoT, right? In case all we have to have is that thing I'm going to give you VoIP, voice over IP, because our chat room is almost finished. We don't make it in-house software by third parties or second parties outside of CoT. Because if we don't make it in-house, we don't know what the information is going to be used for. We don't know where it's going. We don't know who's looking at it. I still believe in privacy. And we're going to have it because God has collected some folks in here with massive abilities. We would be the dodos if we didn't utilize those abilities to create a better foundation in software networking to actually use it. So that we need that. We're working on that. Big time. Sometimes I still believe in privacy. I absolutely do. Absolutely. Anyway, what time is it? 9:02. You kidding? BP Earthwatch. I didn't see you there. He changed his color. It was red. I tell you, we are headed for a time that's not going back to the way it used to be. And everybody ought to get adapt to it and not panic about it. See, now is the time that we need to focus on each other, right? We need to focus on our fellow brethren and so forth. We need to start taking advice from other folks. Be aware. Many situations. Need to be aware. Because at some point those in Judea are going to flee to the mountains. Why would they? Listen, I want to talk to you about something. Often you guys hear me say pray for Israel, right? But let me share something with you. It says, then let him which be in Judea flee into the mountains. Let him which is on the housetop not come down to take anything out of his house, neither let him which is in the field return back to take his clothes. Be popular. My intent here is to make you aware of things so you don't panic. Because here's the deal. if you don't panic because you had an idea, you can serve to comfort somebody else in truth that may be panicking. They may not know what's going on. Imagine yourselves, if you didn't listen to anybody you've listened to, right? And something happens, you're not going to know where to turn. You're going to panic. But if you could find someone with a voice of reason who understands what's happening, they can serve to calm people down at that time, become true ambassadors. And then they, in turn, those people they calm down can, in turn, have an explanation as to what's going on biblically and help calm other people down. Then you can actually help someone to make it through. It trickles out. That's networking, right? I'll tell you the small things I know out of my tiny pea-brain mind, and then you tell somebody else. And you keep them calm. And then they get the picture, and they say, I understand. And then they go calm some people down, right? But if no one tells you, and if you've read the Bible but you don't believe it, you can't equate it to the happenings in the world, anything about CMEs and solar flares, right? I mean, what would you do? What are you going to do? And we know full well in Revelation what it says concerning the sun and what's going to happen. We know full well that men are going to be scorched by the sun. It's going to get pretty hot. In fact, it did before, and that's why a lot of stone structures have experienced or have changed into glass called vitrification. When the rock or the sands get so hot they turn into glass. Those are hot temperatures. It's going to happen again. And we're pressing through some lies that I'm pretty passionate about pressing through. Not because they're just lies, but because what they do is they distort the belief in God's Word. You see, the more they lie, the more a person will cast doubt on God's Word. And I'm somewhat passionate. And it's history. I think enough doubt has been cast on the Word of God, and now their explanations are falling apart at the seams. They themselves are beginning to panic. Things are slowly going out of their control, and another system underneath this one is rising. That will take control of everything. May I remind you, the beast had 10 kings that were not appointed as kings yet, but will 1 hour with the beast. These folks are sitting behind the scenes. And when the system rises, they will take over. They're going to take over. Right? All these confused people you see on the television, they've been appointed as kings. But when the beast system actually rises in full view, there are 10 kings who have not been appointed as kings yet, but will have power as kings 1 hour with the beast. What does that tell you? That all of these 10 kings in the beast system are not the folks who exist today. They're not the folks that you are familiar with today. Gotta get it. I agree with that, VP. Because the lies are so many and so deep and so expansive. It's a lot of crud to dig through. A lot of lies that people hang on to because it's how they were raised, it's what they've been educated. I don't know about you, but I'll tell you what, I'm tired of Satan winning these small battles in people's lives. Through the lies, he is, you know what, we're grafted into the branch, right? Let me tell you what Satan is doing. He's grafting himself into your branch. He's grafted himself into you so that if you're grafted into the branch, he can easily ungraft you. You see, while you're grafted into the branch, he's trying to get you loose. He's trying to take you away from it through deceit, lies, and a host of many other things. Obviously, he doesn't want me talking to you guys. If the sound's still choppy, messed up, and everything, we'll have to do this again. That's okay. I have to do it again. Folks, please listen to me. Take my advice and make sure your systems are up to date if you want to use them, because the ISPs can shut you down. If a virus compromises your system, they can shut you down. It can really shut you down. So make sure your devices are okay. And here's my advice. Next time an attack like this happens, we'll just reschedule. Right? If it's really bad, we'll reschedule. Because all working devices they'll try to get into. If your system is not up to date while you're sitting there chatting, they could be in your system. And if you're in Windows, they're rewriting certain things in your registry, hiding their footprints. So when you restart your system, you get a sleeper cell sitting inside your system. And on specific days when you're accessing the internet, you're going to notice your computer slowing down, and that means they're utilizing it for something. They could be passing data from your computer to ISIS members. You just don't know. This is the way they work. Okay? So make sure your system is clean. Make sure it's really clean. Those of you who use any Windows device, make sure you update your system because it's going to an entirely different level. Nothing is going back to the way it used to be. It's going to an entirely different level. The sound, well, I should change that. Folks, don't listen to me. No, I'm joking. You don't have to anyway. Well, Larry, we can try it. We can try the news. You know what? It may work for you. It could be my voice killing the entire system. I don't know. Maybe someone does not like me, right? That could be a fact. Why would someone not like me? I've never understood that. Yeah, I have. I really have. Folks, you're not liked either by the world because you don't belong to it. You do not belong to the world. Well, I'll tell you what. We're going to get these glitches and everything else worked out. We're going to attempt to redo this tomorrow. Folks, listen, Signs, share a link. I know you have the link, Signs, so share that link on the Norse virus, its activity. Share that link with the folks again. There are several links that track the Norse virus. Signs, you probably have a good one. Pretty thorough guy, so he probably has a good one. Share that with other people so they can get a visual of what's actually happening. And that's just with the Norse intrusions, okay? That's not with everything else. That's just with the Norse intrusion. If you can share that with you and you can see it, you'll understand what's taking place here. And I'm telling you, cyber commands all over the world are busy. They're very busy. ISPs they're busy too. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that their systems are denying so many connections coming in and out and this, that, and the other. So it's just one of those things, but it's good practice to let you know what the potential of what could happen. It's a good thing. This potential exists that our infrastructure can be disrupted for a few days. If that ever happens, don't panic. Don't panic. Go into your secret place. Get your mind together. Understand that this is how it is. This can happen. Okay? And then make adjustments from there. But please, don't panic. Don't make rash decisions. The Lord has already informed us of things like this and the evil intent of man. Anybody who operates outside of his structure, this is what they're going to do. We also know it's going to be reconnected under a different system. Okay? But hear me on this. The military movements that are taking place, they're not for posturing this time. There's something amiss this time. There's a component. It's not matching up this time. There's a wild card in the movements. Something is not scripted as it should be. You know, most military movements are highly coordinated. Even the responsive movements, they're coordinated. I'm telling you now, something is missing. Something is missing in these movements. Just stay aware. Stay aware, because something is missing in these movements. You know, this could drag on for weeks. It could drag on for months. But at some point, we're going to entertain someone operating on their own, outside of the controlling factions, And then there's really no going back from that point. So something is not quite right with these movements, okay? Keep an eyeball on them. Don't panic. If somebody sets off a nuclear weapon, don't panic. If somebody sets off a bomb, if an aircraft goes down, don't panic. Don't panic at all. Don't say, where am I going to go? That's the very time when you calm down and begin to commune and get your thoughts together. And stay sober. Not drunk in the world and its ways and reality TV shows and this, that, and the other. So be on your P's and Q's, because something is different. Something is not scripted about this. There's something very different. So just be aware. Just be aware. Folks, I'm going to let you go. I'm going to get out of here and see if I can determine some things and do what I can do for some future things. DP, it was good to see you here again today. I hope we can see you more often. Hope we can drag him in to talk sometime. I got to get out of here. Folks, I do love you. Sorry about those communication disruptions. If you still have that link that signs get, you guys take a look at it. Make yourselves aware of what's happening. And because, it could get worse. It really could. Make sure you update your devices. After you update your device, restart your device. It's a good idea to restart your device after you pull an update. Restart it. Some updates won't take effect, even in Apple products, until after the device is restarted in some kind of way, or reset or something. Not reset, but restarted. Powered down totally. Powered back up again. Has to go through a sleep moment for Apple. Anyway, it's wonderful to see you all again. God bless each and every one of you. We're going to try the news. And if it works right, I don't know what I'll do. I probably won't do anything. You guys let me know if the news works flawlessly. Then I'll know it was just me. But if it's not just me, join the party, Larry. God bless you guys. Hopefully I'll see you tomorrow. God bless.